Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 vs 4 on Pleshchenitsy, and I'm going to be playing with the 352nd Infantry with the balanced deployment type. I wanted to share this game with you guys today because it was pretty epic. This map is affectionately known as Death Hill in my community, and there's a good reason for that. It turns into an absolute bloodbath up here on this big old hill. So let's have a quick look at what we're getting down. On the left hand side, Sijadung's going to be moving into these buildings. We've got an MG42 that's going to be covering them from a distance. I've got an IG33 with a multi-ammunition truck and a B2 going to be coming up to support. The IG in the Multia is planned to drop off and then use the multi-ammunition truck to resupply my 155mm artillery that I've brought in at the start. It's quite rare that I start with a lot of artillery. Another reason I wanted to share this game today. I really wanted to show how effective 155s can be at supporting. And in this case, these 155s are only 110 points, so they're quite affordable at the start of the game. And on a map like Death Hill, where there's these choke points, they can come in very, very handy. So you can tell I've already got an artillery strike that's coming in here. It's going to be helping pin down the infantry as they swarm up the hill. We're going to be trying to hit Magic Command's infantry as they move up on the left-hand side. But the IL-2 going to be coming in with the bombing strike. MG42 not long for this world. Sijadung's on the left hand side, currently getting ripped by elite infantry. 3 veterancy on the Chunya Bashlati and the Osna Snapere, with the Moskaya providing that veterancy. Now IL-2 coming in for the bombing strike as well, not helping either. Got Stostrup and Grenz up on the hill here, trying to help out in the heavy cover, and down this road currently got 2 Marders covering off against enemy tanks, and the Sijadungs trying to help out as well. But you can see already tons of death and destruction, and that's only going to continue. IG-33 also providing big shots down the road there with that Multia. Now deciding to reinforce on the hill. At the moment just kind of retreating with my Stostrup and Grenz. This is something that I think is actually pretty good for newer players to pick up on, is knowing when to not take an engagement. In this case, he's moving 2 units of Moskaya Avtos into the tree line, and these are extremely good close range infantry, especially when they have 3 veterancy. So my Stostrup would get absolutely melted even if they managed to throw the Molotovs, as the Grenz would really not stand a chance either. So what I've decided to do, preemptively fall back. As I was falling back, I targeted this area with the 155mm artillery, and instead of fighting the Moskaya Avtos, I'm just going to try and surrender them. There's no real reason to force myself into an engagement with them. I can just pin them down and then take advantage of that. So as this next 155mm shot comes in, you can see that we are getting them low on morale. And just like that, a surrender. Molotov lands, job done. Mortar fire did come in. It hit my multi-ammunition, blew up the IG-33 on the right-hand side. My mistake for not moving the Multia back in time. Ideally, I should have given it a unloaded position command and then a queued order to move back to my artillery, but alas, I did not. But now the infantry is forced to fall back. If he doesn't fall it back, it surrenders. If he does fall it back, it moves across into the open and gets shot at by the Grenz. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Use my Grenz with decent veterancy thanks to the Grenführer to pick off these units. And it's working perfectly right now. Just put him between a rock and a hard place and take out what would otherwise be quite difficult infantry to deal with. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, the B2 was trying its best to take on the Chunya Bashlati. It managed to take out 2 squads, I believe. But the 3rd squad managing to get the last PTRD round through that front armor. Flag filling on the left-hand side, super important for stopping the bombing strike onto the IG-33 there, and you can see the last 2 units are going to surrender to the Stostrup. So, job done on the hill, at least on the left side. On this right-hand side, things are just going to continue to get more and more crazy, as these OT-34s on the left-hand side have gone down. B2's trying to hold the line at the moment. Sijadung's trying to take on the guards. Marder's holding at range. Things are going okay for us on the hill right now. We got into actually a really good position here. This flag starts on the enemy side, so we're currently holding that, and that's giving us 13 to 11. Bowdus on the right hand side also holding this flag. We did lose the flag on the far left because Magic Man put pressure on it, but you can see once again my artillery coming in clutch there is absolutely blasts that Mushkaya unit to death. Now the Gren's going to be engaged by the Osnaz Saperi. Probably be falling them back. Probably didn't notice. Aufkala coming in. Provide me with recon here. Unfortunately the Muskaya do manage to kill that before it unloads. The B2 is going to be coming around the corner. This is a beauty on the 352nd. Back in the day, B2, one of my favourite tanks in Steel Division Omni 44. Kind of got replaced by the T-34 in Steel Division 2. I'm not sure if this T-34 would still be my favourite tank in Steel Division 2 now, but I remember when Steel Division 2 came out, and because like all the battles were really epic, and you could charge with like 10 to 15 T-34s all at once. It was really, really cool. And I used to play a game called Panzer Elite, and there was a scenario in that where you could either play as the Tigers trying to kill the T-34s or as the T-34 spam, and it was really, really cool. So yeah, that's why I always really liked them. Anyway, managing to get the Sturm Pioneers in on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, one of them goes down due to the AT grenade of the leader. So a little bit wasteful on my part getting the Sturm Pioneers killed there. But otherwise, my Gren's doing a really good job of pinning down the enemy with the MG34s at range. The 204 is going to be able to take care of enemy transports coming down the roads and stuff, and the B2 is getting a good position to provide fire support with its howitzer. Two Marder 3s also now joining the party. IG-33 is finally in position to fire away, so we are currently routing Magic Man's forces across the open, and this is not a position he wants to be in. He's going to need smoke if he wants to keep these alive, and he probably doesn't have units to smoke set up at the moment, so we're taking full advantage of that, killing off multiple units. And it all really comes down to the fact that these 155s haven't really stopped firing since the start of the game. I'm taking full advantage of the fact that there's not going to be significant counter battery for a while, and just get as much value out of these 155s as I can. I've also brought in the Nebelwerfer 41 now on the left hand side. That's going to be really good for taking care of support weapons, things like enemy AA and AT guns, things like the ZIS-2 and the 76mm back here. But yeah, this IG, perfect position here to just take full advantage of all the Moskaya Pihota currently falling back. Grens are trying to get into a position, currently being shot at by the 76 though, which is also in a good position. But ideally what I should do is move further to the right. But now we're going to be seeing mortar fire come in. Unfortunately, wasn't really quick enough to save a lot of his troops. These Moskaya's revealing themselves briefly are going to get some shots to the face from the IG-33. Since they're in heavy cover, they're not going to take as much damage, but a direct hit is still going to absolutely chunk. So, Marder currently sitting forwards. These Marders really, really good in this sort of situation. And people often ask me, like, why are you bringing Marders and not AT guns? Well, Marders are actually pretty cheap. And in this case, it's like cheaper than the Pak 40. So it's a Pak 40 gun on an armored hull, but you're paying 5 points less, and it's agile. They're fantastic for light cover to no cover engagements, where you can jump in and out of cover nice and quick, use line of sight to your advantage. The other thing that is worth noting is that open top self-propelled guns like these Marders, they have an aim time reduction, so they aim 0.5 seconds faster than a closed top anti-tank tank, basically, like a Jagdpanther. And I guess any tank, really. I think it's the same for any tank. But yeah, particularly open-topped ones, they fire slightly faster, so it really helps with their ambush capability. Enemy mortar fire going to be coming in, take out the IG-33 there. And while we're getting into a really good position now, Sidorung's putting the pain onto the Chinya Bashlati. We also have eyes onto Magic Man's commander, which hasn't fallen back. It's currently providing good veterancy, but it's in a really, really dodgy spot right now because my artillery is going to be focusing on that on the left-hand side, as you can see. So he's going to have to try and run with that, or it's going to take a 155mm artillery round in the face, which is not very nice. Meanwhile, on the right, we do have the Ox and Bucks managing to push up just a little bit, get into a position, but the SS Landsturm and the Sicherungs doing a good job. So the leader is now running away, and rightly so. Needs to keep that commander alive if he wants to maintain decent veterancy on his infantry. But as I'm starting to get into a better position on this hill now, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to continue this push across the open with his infantry. And the Moskaya Gruppe is always going to struggle in that scenario. It likes to play at sort of like the 500 to 100 meter range. Beyond that, you're going to have problems. You can obviously rely quite heavily on your mortars, on your AT guns and support weapons, but since I've already invested in artillery at the start of the game, it's going to be difficult for him to find value out of those moving forwards. Regardless, things are going well. Backfilling are now in position. You can see it forced off the IL-2 there. Actually does a lot of damage to the IL-2s if they're coming straight at them. I've got the V2 here. We've got an IG that's on the ridge. Another multi-munition, going to be sending it back to these artillery pieces to top them off. Sicherungs coming in to reinforce. Guerilla joining on the left-hand side from Sturmsource, definitely helpful. It's good to note that this side of the map is slightly higher. So you can see the Guerilla has a really good line of sight here on this left-hand side. So definitely make good use of that on this map. Always worth zooming in and checking the elevation, because sometimes it's not quite obvious what's going on. Anyway, as you can see, we are now sitting on the 1311, and we have been sitting on the 1311 for the majority of the game, and that's usually how this goes. Like, one side will play off the 1311. Sometimes it goes 12 to 12 and you're just constantly fighting over the hill. But sitting on the 1311 is the most realistic way you're going to win in this game, or in this map, because it's very difficult to find a double tick. In order to find a double tick, we've got to capture this flag, we've got to capture like maybe this flag, and then maybe one of the flags on the right hand side. So these flags are very, very difficult to get to. You can see I'm really struggling to get my infantry up on the left hand side just because there's so many shots coming in from different fire support weapons. Now we got 3 T-34s there that are causing problems. In the middle, very unlikely going to push through here because it's a massive choke and it's just really open. And on the right hand side, like getting off this hill, again, fire support coming in onto you as you push off the hill, really, really devastating. And yes, you can try and use like smoke and stuff, but ultimately you won't be able to hold your position forever because you'll eventually run out of smoke. So yeah, that's why this particular map becomes such a grind. And you can see here like the SS Junker with the Festungsgrenz currently engaging the Sturmoviki, and Spicy continues to put bodies on the hill, and not always alive ones. T-34s still causing me a little bit of an issue here. We are going to be bringing up a Pak 40. I've also got my first Jagdpanther on the way. This is one of the staples of the 352nd, and another reason that I wanted to share this replay. I don't think I've played the 352nd on the channel for a little while, so get to show off good use of Jagdpanthers in this game. Also, nice use of artillery. In this case, going to be putting the fire position just here, right on the edge of the radio circle, so that the dispersion is enough to still hit the 120mm, and we get the corrected shot bonus of the extra aim time. So nice little tip there. You don't always have to put the artillery fire position order right on top of what you want to fire at. It is sometimes useful to do that because there is like a weird thing in Star Division 2 where generally if you like fire position right on top of something, you can almost guarantee that one of your shots is going to hit that position, and sometimes more than one, but that's not always the case, but it's like a very high chance. In this case, just fire position close enough so that we can get the fast aim time, and since I'm putting two 155s on target, it's only going to take one to land next to that 120mm mortar and to kill it off. But taking care of the 120mm mortars, super important. The Jagdpanther sneaking into position here, manages to take out one of the T-34s. Now at this point I was specifically targeting the ones that were likely to break line of sight first. So that one that I turret stuck, I just wanted to finish it off before it could fall back and get fixed up. But I'm going to be falling back here because this 2 on the left hand side I think was a potential threat. Meanwhile in the town, 60mm mortars of Spicy going to work. I've got a B2 here ready to help support. Sigerungs holding their position nicely. Marder's still covering the road. Panzerjäger here firing away. Look at that cheeky little position. The KV-85 actually getting hit very, very hard there as it is forced to back off. But more and more of these wrecks start to join on the hill. More infantry now coming in as rockets smash the front. The Sturmoviki getting killed off. Without smoke support, those Sturmoviki going to be in a real bad spot. The Festungsgrenz at range are just going to beat them every time because these Sturmoviki, they've only got 100-meter range, so like unless smoke is used, they're never ever going to be in like an effective range. Whereas the like Festungsgrenz here, like yes, they're a cheap squad of 20 points, but they have almost entirely like 500-meter plus weapons. So the Sturmoviki actually getting beaten by significantly cheaper infantry. And on the left, a couple more infantry going to be coming in. Got some MG42s, got another Jagdpanther on the way. And the idea was to have one Jagdpanther up on the hill, one further down, and then I can start to think about pushing onto this flag on the left-hand side. Like at this point, I could just play like extremely defensive, but that's just not a way I like to play. I like to always try and at least take, more flags so that we can potentially, win a little bit faster. So my Sigerungs, my Grens now pushing across the open towards the Chenya Bishlati. Maybe a little bit premature because I hadn't got my units into position yet, like this IG-33s trying to get into position in the light cover here. The Panther's still coming up on the hill. But it does at least reveal the position of some of the enemy troops. Meanwhile, Nebelwerfer going to be firing away, looking for the kill onto the 120mm mortar here. And we do manage to find it. It's another one bites the dust. It's certainly going to help us out moving forwards. 155mm artillery hitting the ZIS-2 there, taking that out as well. Festungsgrenz of Spicy pushing forwards, finding not a lot of units in this town. So not going to be making any ground for the time being. A bunch of ZIS-42s coming in now. The funny thing about ZIS-42s is, like generally speaking, always change them to faster transports. But in some situations, ZIS-42s can actually be really useful because of their armor. They do come with the 15 front armor and 5 side and rear armor, which means that they won't unload as quickly as a normal transport would if it came under any stress. In this case, it's just going to be moving up, I guess, just to unload here and then run across the river. OD-33 still trying to get into position as the Grens move down the hill now. And they're looking to push into the town from this direction. You gotta love how it looks as the Grens run forwards here. Another ZIS-2 going down there to the 155s. These 155s absolutely vital throughout this game. especially in the early game, taking care of the more elite infantry of Magic Man. Really helped us out massively. IL-2 going to be coming in. Lots of Flakvillings now. Got a Flakvilling on the right here somewhere. Some sort of AA, wherever it was. There it is. SDKs at 7-1. Another SDKs at 7-1 there from Sturm. Source, we've got the 2 Flakvillings from myself. Those IL-2s aren't getting anywhere near us, but meanwhile, in the middle, we have a push coming in. The Brits are pushing forwards, the Oxen Bucks making a play. Daimler Little Johns supporting the infantry push onto this flag. Going to get our entire team's response. I'm also going to be getting my artillery to target this as well. Try and pin some of it down. If I can pin enough of it down, then we might be able to go for a mass surrender there. But nice play by our opponents to take advantage of our lack of defense in the center. On the right hand side, Vowed is still going backwards and forwards with Pop. We got Tigers in position. It's going to be kind of difficult for these Daimlers to take care of. Now technically the Little John can penetrate a Tiger, but it has to be within range, and you've got to get enough shots off in time, because it only does 4 damage, so you're going to need like 3 shots on target to kill the Tiger, because Tiger has 12 health, and in that time the Tiger only has to land 1 shot to kill your Daimler. So yeah, it's kind of rough if you miss, especially if you miss the first shot from the Daimler. But MG42 Grens managing to find their way across the left hand side. In the mid, I decided to bring in some of my off map, and this is one of the big off maps that the 352nd get, the 380 mil. And you can see that the way that he's placed his units here, the concentration of units is perfect for this off map. So we shall zoom in and enjoy as this comes down and absolutely obliterates the enemy forces. Big hit there in the town. The Oxen Bucks on their last legs. Daimler getting destroyed on the right hand side. Very nice indeed, and that's gonna carve a way for Sturmsource's Panzer IVs to continue moving through. So on the left side of the hill, Sloppy's push with the guards and the Avtos now coming through. Avtos are actually way better than they used to be now. It's a unit that people really shouldn't sleep on. Now they've got the shock trait. With a 10 strength squad, they're super good at close range. In this scenario, once again, similar to the Sturmoviki, having them like crossing the open under fire is not really the best place for them to be. Jagdpanther on the left hand side looking to try and kill off the T-34-76. Meanwhile, more off map being brought in to help in the middle. And yeah, these Canadian paras running for their lives. Air landing, getting surrendered. And that's just completely demolished that push there. Meanwhile on the left, IL-2s came in with rocket strikes to kill the Grens that across the river. IL-2, P3 get forced back, so nothing out of those. Yeah, since there's not really much in the way of Piats left, especially with these 2 air landing being pinned down, the Panzer IVs can just sit there and go to work, pin things down, surrender them, and all is well. Some more artillery hitting on the left hand side. Like I do now have the 2 155s and 4 150mm SFHs joining the party. So these are going to be doing a lot of work for us. Very good at taking out enemy support weapons. Just as good as the 155s really. But these SFH-18 150mm are slightly more accurate. So really nice, and you can see that I'm going to be spreading them out on this area so that I can pin down all of the infantry as it tries to push forwards here. And then any direct hits will do a significant amount of damage. Meanwhile, these two can fire elsewhere. I was taking a little bit of counter battery, so you can see I'm actually loading up the multi-munitions now, and I'm going to move them off to the side. Battlefuhrer also joining here to provide reduction in dispersion for the SFH-414s. The Nebelwerfer also being used throughout the game, picking it up after every time it fires and moving it. Super important thing to do. If you're ever going to use Nebelwerfers, pick them up after you fire them, move them to a different location whilst they reload, because otherwise counter battery will kill them very quickly, and particularly against decent players. Now Sturmsource here making a nice counter play into the center. His Panzergrens moving up, 233, T-34. Mosquito though coming in with a napalm. Doesn't look like the napalm actually managed to get on target. That's going to be a sigh of relief for the Panzergrens as they managed to wipe out 2 air landing there. Really nice push through the middle. Going to actually push us up to a 15-9. We hold the flag on the hill, we hold the flag in the middle, and we hold a flag on the right hand side thanks to Valdis. The Typhoon there taking out 233, Yak 7. Going to be looking for armor targets as well. The Mosquitoes trying to provide recon for the Yak, but that Yak doesn't look like it was microed properly, so going to end up getting potentially shot down. SDK Z71s not quite doing the job, but the 88 certainly does as it connects mid-air. Very cool. Now off map coming in onto these poor Strauki as they are going to be ordered to push up this hill. We'll watch the artillery come in shortly. IL-3 coming in for the run there, but not quite doing the job. Oh, actually that was a Kargarat. That was a Kargarat shot. It pinned down all of those units. Very cool. Once again, you can see I'm placing down all of the artillery. In this case, a bunch of like low health units. So, going to be targeting all of them individually, rather than putting the shots onto just like one individual squad. The nice thing is, because we have radio as well, they've got corrected shot, they're quite accurate, so that's handy. Meanwhile, these two, they fired at and killed an AA piece here, the M17. Big old Nebelwerfer rocket strike coming in from Spicy, the Nebelwerfer 42, onto the infantry here, so that's not really making any ground. And there we go, the artillery hitting nicely. The great thing about spreading it out as well is it really helps you pin down enemy infantry quickly. The push made from Sturmsource actually getting crushed slowly but surely in the center here by airstrikes, by support from up on the hill. These two challengers here going to be able to engage pretty effectively at 2,000 meter range, especially with 170 millimeters of penetration. The Panzer IVs don't really stand a chance because outranged and outgunned. But with the help of artillery on the left, you can see that we are starting to make a little bit of ground here. I've got artillery killing off the units on that far left side. We've got artillery trying to kill off the Chinyubushlatty. And if I can take this flag, it's going to solidify the double tick for just that little bit longer. Currently 6 minutes left on the clock until we get a victory, so things are going pretty well. And the one thing that I was waiting for throughout this game was for Magic Man with the Moskaya Grupa Bakhtina to use the 132 mil off map that they get, which is super strong. But I think in the end it worked out that he didn't have it in his deck, which obviously is a bit of a grave mistake, but did have the 180 mil off map. So we are going to be seeing that hit us at least. Bren's trying to make ground. T-34 is trying to push forwards, but the Jagdpanther going to start doing work. One on the left, I fell that back briefly. I'm going to be shifting it round so that I can potentially cover the road. The one thing here is that there is a tree line, and this tree line is technically heavy cover. And you can see it blocks the line of sight either side. There's actually a lot of things about this map that are very, like, sort of niche to know. Like, they are, like, it's very, like, specific things that are difficult to pick up on unless you played this map 100 times. But yeah, this tree line is one of them. The other thing being the elevation on the left-hand side, because it's not obvious elevation. But the Sturmtiger taking advantage of that. There we go. You can see the Jagdpanther there firing away, taking out some of the transports as they try and push up. I've also got a bunch of artillery that will soon be landing on that position. A couple of artillery shells landing on the road exactly, and then we've got a couple actually focusing on 180mm off map. And we do manage to take it out. Also the T-34 that was next to it getting popped by that. So this artillery doing absolute work. 150mm as well, really helping out massively. But as you can see, things have been pushed back in the middle. And on the right hand side, Valdis under a lot of pressure now as well. So 13-11 for now. But it's really going to come down to getting control of the flag back on the hill, as there was a huge hole here for a while. I zoomed in on the King Tiger dying there. I mean, that King Tiger, if it could stay in position on that hill, it would have been able to cut off the entirety of the reinforcing road, but our opponent's not allowing that to happen. You can see big rocket strikes coming in here. Likely Andorusha's smashing the Pak-43, killing the SDK Z71, forcing back a lot of the infantry, and it's just going to add to the absolute pile of rubble up on this hill. Yeah. So, Citadung's actually managing to get onto this flag, which is good. In the middle, another push coming in from the British player. This time around, HS-129 going to be coming in trying to take out the Challengers. All the while, that infantry just charging forwards. That's going to be one Challenger down. Looking for the second. Managed to find it. Very nice indeed. Jagdpanther, meanwhile, on the left-hand side. 4 P3s come in and take that out. One of them's going to get shot down. But I've now got 2 88s on the way. They're certainly going to provide quite a significant amount of penetration for me to take care of medium tanks. And the Pak-43 there, even able to deal with heavier tanks. IL-2 shot down in the town. And we got off map. My 380mm, I believe. Going to be hitting Magic Man and Sloppy. But these 88s, good for 2 reasons. One, obviously there's a lot of aircraft coming in. And 2, they really make short work of medium armor. And they can provide HE fire support versus Sword Straki. So, yeah, it's going okay. Another 380mm being brought into the center. The one on the left here I think is also fresh. Because I think at one point I dropped off map in the center and then moved it over to the left hand side. I'm not entirely sure when I did that. Regardless, making good use of my off map throughout the game to really take care of these blobs. And it's funny, these days you don't really see off map, I think, as much as you used to, because off maps are very expensive, and it actually is not too cost efficient unless your opponent is blobbing massively. So in this case, blobbing massively, and it's going to be a nice off map strike. The F-109 is coming in for bombing strikes there so that we can help save Sturmsource's 88 and try and maintain position over that flag. Another off map going to be placed so that we can continue to control this flag. Meanwhile, getting the B2 Marder 3 actually quite far up. The line of sight is again limited here because of the elevation on this left-hand side, which is what causes a lot of problems with like line of sight generally. Okay, if you're ever wondering why your unit can't like direct fire at something and it looks like it should be able to, just zoom in to ground level and check elevation. I'm certainly starting to get through the supply here on all of these 150s. Having these idle at any point is kind of bad. I should have these almost permanently firing, and generally speaking throughout this game I have done. But in this case, like getting them on target of like enemy artillery now is probably a good idea, just so that I can shut that down. Now we did lose this flag. My Sitzerung's trying to get over there to help that out. We did lose this flag briefly because the Sitzerung's here not putting pressure on the front line. ISU 152 going to be coming down the main road here. That's actually kind of difficult for me to deal with, so I'm going to be trying to shift forwards the Jagdpanther to get a shot on target. Just got to be really careful because the ISU 152 with 3 vet going to have more than enough accuracy at close range to kill the Jagdpanther in one shot. A B2 and 88 going to take out the Stroki SVT. Sitzerungs taking control of that flag. These Sitzerungs going to be loading shortly and engaging the AB Padders. The AP missed, and that allowed my Sitzerungs to unload. That is 3 units of Padders though, and unfortunately the Sitzerungs get surrendered. So Jagdpanther here, taking advantage of the garden. The ISU 152 didn't actually get line of sight there, so yeah, we end up killing it. HS 129 lying very, very close to the sun as all of these 37 mils are chipping away at it. One nice thing about the HS 129 is it is a very tanky beast. Tanky duck, one might say. Sturm target, getting a good shot in there. Magic Man coming in with the rocket strike, does manage to hit one of my 204s. I continue to use those recon units with my infantry, with my tanks, to push forwards. The mid, not looking too great. Off map, going to be trying to help out again. Off map is actually a really, really good way to help support your teammates without having to pay too much attention. Because you can see, because I'm microing a lot of artillery and stuff throughout the game, and obviously microing the engagements on the left hand side, I don't really have time to like micro forces in the middle as well. So what I'm just doing is providing like suppression and damage with the 380mm that then my teammates can take advantage of. And that's another good tip for like newer players. If you want to try and like keep focusing on your side of the map, but you notice that one of your like friendlies is struggling, then just try and like send an off map their way or something that's not too difficult for you to manage. Anyway, Jagdpanther here trying to move up and engage the ISU. I end up falling back from that mainly because I thought that it was going to be firing at my Jagdpanther here instead of the Marder. It ends up killing the Marder. And now my Jagdpanther a little bit overexposed against all of these P3s. P3's going to hit the SPW 204. These P3s actually managed to kill off the 88. And now we got the Yak-7 coming in, another P3. Trying to keep front armor facing. And it just about manages to stop that from dying. HS-129 coming in for the shots onto the ISU there. Only had one chance to get a kill. Did not manage to do so. Meanwhile, Jagdpanther gets taken out. And yeah, things just as crazy on the left hand side as they are on the hill. Just like look at all the smoke piles. There's like just so many wrecks here on this left hand side, and then so many wrecks and craters on the hill. Once again, artillery being spaced out. If you ever wonder how I do that, double click on all of the same type of artillery, press tab, and it will scroll through them at the bottom. Another great tip. And then you can do like tab, fire position order, tab, fire position order, tab, fire position order. and you can just place loads of different fire position orders really quickly. Nice kill onto the Boston though. Like, the AA was definitely getting value throughout the game, particularly the Flakflings. My two 88s unfortunately didn't do too well, but we're still in good position here. Panzergrenz, or my normal Grenz, sorry, in the town. Their infantry is not, and they're trying to get their infantry into the town is going to be very difficult with all of my artillery support. The B2s, so the rest of the B2s now coming in to support on the hill. At this point, B2s are actually pretty strong because there's not any like significant armor up on the hill. It's just a lot of infantry trying to get up, and so the B2s just kind of like a brick wall for that infantry to have to deal with. My Grenz up on the hill here, holding the line nicely. Currently 1 minute 10 seconds left on the clock as the intensity does not stop. And this is one thing that I really like about this map. It is just intense from start to finish. It's really fun. Don't play it all the time, of course, because it would probably get a bit overwhelming. But it is a really fun map to play. You can see my artillery is coming in here nice and spread out to try and just pin any infantry that might be causing issues. On the left hand side, my Grenz trying to hide in the back gardens so they maintain position here without being in direct line of sight. Sturm Source still trying to use a Sturm Tiger to effect on the left side. On the right, Valdis holding on for dear life as he is going to be pushed on significantly, but that is 5 SDK Z71s. That aircraft did not stand a chance. As we get towards the end, lots of P3s coming in, looking for the kill onto the Sturm Tiger. Magic Man going all in, just not in time. 41 minutes, 58 seconds. That's going to be a minor victory on Pleshchenitsy. 4,086 kills, 2,550 losses. Fantastic, fun game. And thank you, Magic Man, for not using the 132mm off map. That is so OP in that division. Yeah, I think if Magic Man had brought in that off map and maybe off mapped the town on top of the hill and maybe off mapped that left side with a couple of them, it would have been pretty devastating. I don't know if it necessarily would have changed the outcome of the game, since I was relying quite heavily on artillery from the start, and we had artillery dominance throughout the game. So we would have been able to stop like any sort of counter push that came after the off map, but we definitely would have lost a lot more. Like, I would be like more close to 4,000 kills and 4,000 losses or something like that. But just check out this artillery. 155 that I had from the start of the game, smashing lots of infantry, lots of support guns like ZIS-2s, 37mm AA, the B2 helping us out a bit there, the Jagdpanther chewing through T-34s, off-map hitting very nicely indeed. The 150s doing great, helping kill off infantry, helping kill off support weapons, like these are the SFHs. Another Jagdpanther there getting a couple T-34 kills, probably could have done a bit better. HS-129 in the middle that killed off the 2 challengers, really important to help our team stabilize there. But yeah, great fun. And you see the 180mm off map there hit us a little bit, and the ISU 152s at the end certainly causing a bit of problems, but overall, yeah, nicely played game with the artillery, I think, and not something I do too often. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. It was really fun to play, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it. Thank you very much, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.